Good afternoon and welcome to the Entrepreneurship Guest Lecture. Today's guest lecture theme is Entrepreneurship Issue, How Small Businesses Could Take Advantage of the Changing Consumer Behavior During the Pandemics. And for today's guest lecture, there are 4 points of discussion. The first one is consumer behavior before and after pandemic. Second, reasons for changing consumer behavior. Third, pros and cons for MSME in changing consumer behavior. And the last point is what can MSME do to overcome and prevent this and how to maximize it. And this theme will be presented by Dr. Jennifer Operio, MBA, LPT, DBA from Holy Angel University, Philippines for the next 90 minutes. And also, I would like to welcome Dr. Ganjar Chandra Premananto, SEMSG, as the head of the Management Department, Mrs. Yeti Dwi Lestari, SEMT, as the Secretary of the Management Department, Dr. Din Mardia, SEMSC, as the head of the Management Bachelor Program, Mrs. Nurlaili Vidyarini, SEMBA, and Dr. Trisiwi Agustina, SEMSC, as the head of Entrepreneurship Concentration, and all of the participants and invited guests who already joined this event. Introduce me, my name is Farel Christian Tomo as the Master of Ceremony who will be the guide for these events today. Next, before we go to the main event, I will read out the explain and rules for this event, and I will read it in Bahasa. Dan ini adalah tata tertibnya. Yang pertama, peserta diharapkan hadir 15 menit sebelum acara dimulai. Yang kedua, peserta wajib merename username dengan format nama lengkap _NIM. Yang ketiga, peserta wajib mengaktifkan kamera dan menonaktifkan mikrofon selama acara berlangsung. Yang keempat, peserta wajib menggunakan virtual background yang telah disediakan. Yang kelima, posisikan kamera landscape, memperlihatkan wajah, dan mengenakan pakaian sopan serta rapi selama acara berlangsung. Yang keenam, pertanyaan dapat diajukan langsung saat sesi diskusi melalui kolom chat Zoom. Yang ketujuh, link presensi akan diberikan saat menjelang acara berakhir. Yang kedelapan, siapkan koneksi internet stabil dan alat tulis selama acara berlangsung untuk meresume materi pembicara. Selamat dan semangat dalam mengikuti kuliah tamu kewirausahaan. Next, we will move on to the main event, and this time I'm not alone because today's guest lecture will be moderated by Mrs. Afifah Rahmania. She is one of lecturer in entrepreneurship concentration, and she has various experience in businesses and entrepreneurship, especially in event organizing. And without any further ado, I would like to invite Mrs. Afifah Rahmania to moderate this session.
Like routine shopping or quick shopping, right? So the businessman, the business owners, all those sole proprietors, entrepreneurs, they are happy, especially if they are selling dry goods, apparels, shoes, bags, handbags. They are happy because ladies and women, they have this kind of attitude. Shopping is free. And of course, just on the onset of the coronavirus, there is panic buying. This happened on the different countries, in different countries like China, Italy, or UK and the US, the countries that were initially were hit by the coronavirus, and actually the hardest hit, in fact, like China and Italy. So you will notice that they buy gallons and gallons of alcohol for sanitizing. They buy dozens and dozens of tissue papers. And I just don't understand because when I bought 1 gallon only, 1 gallon of alcohol. Until last month, it was only last month that I have consumed it totally for 1 gallon of alcohol. Because I also have this mixture of, to sanitize. So we don't use alcohol all the way. We only use alcohol for our hands and for our family members only. But in sanitizing the house or the furnitures, tables, chairs like that, we use a different mixture. And of course, how about the buying behavior after pandemic? So it's now more than 2 years. Of course, all of us learned, right? Personally, we become wiser as a nation. We become wiser also. Wise spenders now. I hope that made us a wise spender. So the choice of purchase destination is that we prefer now buying in the nearest. If there is a physical store, we buy from the nearest store to us, right? To our residence, to our house, because we don't want to travel so far away because we are afraid of the virus, right? Being infected by the virus. And the types of goods purchased. If before we are having shopping spree in buying handbags, pair of shoes, um, we have a lot of uh, pairs of shoes in the house, but we buy more and more. But this time, we change it totally. No, the buying behavior of the consumers changed totally. They focus more on health and food. And of course, specifically in our country, Asian countries, we already adopted digital payment. So we use our mobile. We also call it e-wallet or electronic. Before, we have the PayPal. And during the pandemic, GCash became very popular in my country. I don't know how in your country, but in my country, GCash is very in my country. We are not yet into cryptocurrencies. Um, Personally, I'm not yet into that. I'm afraid to go into payments so far at this moment. Okay, I'm not sure yet regarding this crypto payment. And of course, another change in the behavior, buying behavior of consumers, we become nationalistic, which is known also as economic nationalism. Now, when we say economic nationalism, this is like ethnocentric. No, ethnocentric is that as we become nationalistic, we tend to love the products made in our country. We tend to love the country is producing. And then we are more inclined to help the government in reviving the country's economy. Uh, in our country, that's the reality. We were so prudent in spending, and then as much as possible, we only buy things that are made in the country, except for those products that we really need but are not found in the country. And of course, this is related to digital payment. We are now into touchless or contactless shopping. Yes, because I am more on shopping online. I use my phone. We have here in the country Lazada, Shopee. I don't know if you have that one. In ordering from fast food restaurants, we use the Grab. Okay, we have Grab, and we have Panda. I think I already have Panda here, and then we have the local version. We have the Lala Move. We have this your Padala. In that is a Tagalog word, which means you are sending or receiving something through online. And of course, yeah, shopping online is now the norm. I would say, no, this is now the norm of even contactless delivery, because we are still afraid of being infected by the virus. And we are, I would say, fortunate that we are still here. I would say congratulations to ourselves, and of course, I would say. I don't know how you say it in your own language, but thanks be to God that we are still alive, because we are alive just because God allowed us to still be alive right now. Okay. And the reason for the changes, why is there a change in the buying behavior of consumers nowadays? Number one, of course, we have this fear of being infected by the virus. Even nowadays, we still use alcohol, right? To sanitize. I sanitize my hands whenever I go out, and then I come home. I also spray the sole of my shoes. Okay, the sole of the shoes of my son and my husband. So we still do that, and we are afraid of being infected by the virus. So we do these precautions in living with this virus, because experts say that this will be the norm. Okay, this will be the norm. We have to live with this uh, virus, the coronavirus, of its different variants, right? There are now new variants of this one. And of course, another reason for the changes in the buying behavior is that the financial issues, and the crisis due to lockdowns and loss of jobs. It is a factual knowledge that in the country or around the globe, the hardest hit, the business or the industry that was hit the hardest, is the tourism industry. And of course, in the tourism business, specifically the airline businesses. So the flight attendants, the pilots, remember, the pilots before pandemic, they earn a lot, right? And the flight attendants, they have these benefits. They can um, let their family members travel free because that's part of their benefits. But when the coronavirus, when the lockdown happened, they were forced, the airline industry, the tourism business, they were forced to shut down, to close, and eventually to declare bankruptcy. But what's good is that these flight attendants, they were innovative, they were resilient, and they tend to, they actually thought of strategies to survive, because they need to survive. They have their families, they have their children that must go for a lesson, okay, to study. They have to go to school, even online. They have to pay tuition fees. So they have to do something. From being a flight attendant, they went into food business. And surprisingly, the food business thrived. So that is a very good sign, even during pandemic. Okay, please excuse me for a while. Okay, all right. So when crises occur, buyers modify their practices and attitudes because we have to adjust, right? And then yes, innovation and resilience, as I've been talking about the flight attendants, they innovate, they made strategies, and being resilient. I'm so proud to say that being a Filipino, this is one of our characteristic, being resilient. In times of crisis, whatever crisis is that, Philippines is being visited by a lot of, almost 100 typhoon, super typhoon, and you've been reading that in YouTube, you've been reading that in the global news, right? You've been watching television, CNN News, for example, BBC, and we're always having this typhoons in 1 year, almost 100. And that's why we use the alphabet, okay, from A to Z. And sometimes the A to Z is not enough. to name the typhoon. But we are a resilient kind of people in the sense that we strive. Whatever will happen, we adjust, and then we become so resilient in that. And during this time, so you look at the picture from Kenya, a herbalist shares information on medicinal food. Before we don't mind plants, we don't mind planting, but during the pandemic, especially personally, I used empty mineral water bottle to become plant pots. I planted tomatoes, I planted pepper, and we don't buy it anymore. So, that's being resilient, that's being innovative. Okay. And then, of course, you strategize to survive the pandemic. We need to. We are forced to actually. Mrs. Afifah, or I think the first one, the student, the one who introduced the first student speaker, he mentioned, or if I'm not mistaken, it's Mrs. Afifa, I'm sorry, mentioned that the younger generation, you have a lot of younger generation. That's true, no? We in the country, the Generation Z and the Alpha generation, we have a lot of them here, and I think that's a good sign. This younger people, younger generation, they know how to strategize. Okay, so good for you. And then, of course, we are now prioritizing health, medicines, vitamins, and of course, food. Food is the basic needs according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's the basic. But of course, we need food to survive, right? Food and water. So that's why the priority now is that health and food. For me, before pandemic, I always see to it that every month I had a new apparel, a new dress, a new pair of shoes. But now, during the pandemic, I realized these are not that important. Okay, so food, bonding with the family, staying happy, being with your family. These are the most important things in life. I hope you agree also. Okay, so what are the challenges of these small, micro, small, and medium enterprises? By the way, in the Philippines, the economic condition or the support economically of the Philippines is coming not from the big companies, the real estate developer, or what else, the mall owners. Only roughly a little than 10% are big businesses. But almost 90% of the support in the Philippine economy is coming from the MSMEs. That's why that's why the Philippine government, and of course, I will tell you later that the Asian nations in the Southeast Asian region, they are now collaborating to support small businesses or the MSMEs. We know it as the MSMEs. Okay, so what are the challenges? Finance. It's not easy to request for a loan or a financial support, even from the government, because you're a small business. For example, if you're a market vendor, there's no guarantee, right? So it's very difficult for these business owners, small business owners, to have access to finance. And then another one is the business environment and the cost of doing business. Of course, you know this, business students, regarding the PESEL or the PESTEL. Of course, we know it as the political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental. So we need to look at specifically the small businesses, okay, the government policy, and of course, corruption is a part of it, the tax payment, tax policy, okay? And economically, uh, this pandemic, there is an increase in the unemployment. So, of course, these are the challenges being faced by the small businesses. The social, if the farmer is coming from a very far away province, and the problem now is how to transport these vegetables to the urban area. So it's really a big challenge, a big problem for this market vendor, for these farmers, no, in far-flung area. That's another issue to our farmers, and this is the irony of it. Farmers and the fishermen, they are the ones helping us Filipinos to put food on the table. But the irony of it is that they are the poorest sectors in the Philippine economy. So sad, but it's true. That's why the government is doing something to help them. Okay. And then we have this technological, of course, I will admit, and I must admit that technologically we are not that advanced as Singapore, as Hong Kong, or we are not that advanced. Even Indonesia, you are better in relation to us in terms of technology. So this is another challenge for small businesses in the Philippines. Okay, and of course the weather, as I mentioned to you, that Philippines is being visited by a lot of typhoons, super typhoons. Just recently, we have this typhoon Otet. Okay, it devastated the area in the southern part. The southern part is actually a center for tourism, but until now it's not been rehabilitated 100% yet. And then we have this environmental, the discrimination law, or we call it the loss of the land. We have to think of it also. All right. So we have another challenge for the small businesses: the access to the market. As I've said, that transporting goods from the farm going to the market, the urban side. Okay, and then production and efficiency, because we really need to help farmers and fishermen regarding the production and the efficiency, and we need to help them also. We need to educate them because these are most of them are uneducated people. And then of course the impacts of climate changes and ease of undertakings disaster recovery. In the Philippines, we are doing a lot of it, the government. And yes, I hope that for the next election, Filipinos will be prudent enough to elect the best president for us, and the best vice president. Okay, opportunities to MSMEs. Of course, it's an opportunity for the small businesses regarding the national economy. Um, we as a small businesses, we depend a lot on the national economy and the national government policies. Then we have this Ashan economic community and other free trade agreements, as I have mentioned a while ago. In economics, we always mention this free trade agreements among countries. Okay, so there's another name for the North America. We have another name for even in our country. We have this one. Okay, so we have this AEC, which is the Asian Economic Community. There are 10 countries in this Asian community. So Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. So, the Asian community, they are doing their best to integrate and to help each other. And then solid demographics because of a young and vibrant population. So as I have mentioned a while ago, the younger generation are vibrant, and we are, I would say, fortunate enough to have more young people in our time than when we were in our time. Okay, and then of course we are going green. We're looking for the renewable sources of energy. We have the windmill. We have the solar. In the Philippines, we have this in Iloilo. We have the solar farm. We call it the solar farm. We're going into that solar business, and then we have these government policies and programs. Of course, the Duterte administration is doing its best. Like, for example, if there's a problem, an issue of a farmer transporting his goods to the market, so there's the program or policy now of the Duterte administration, the Build program. Okay, I mentioned a while ago about the ASEAN economic community. They have this strategic action plan for MSME development. This is covering 2016 to 2025. And, according to Bano and Tabada in 2015, the main goal of this Ashan strategic plan is to transform Ashan into a single market and production base, a highly competitive economic region, a region of economic development, and a region fully integrated into the global economy. So we are helping each other, the 10 nations, okay, the neighboring countries. And then, of course, another is that the goal of this Asian integration is to globally become competitive and innovative micro, small, and medium enterprises, of course, with their commitment to achieve globally competitive, resilient, and innovative MSMEs, which is seamlessly integrated to the Asian economic community and supporting inclusive development in the region by 2025. Okay, there are 5 plans coming from these strategic goals. And these are: number one, promote productivity, technology, and innovation. Number two, increase access to finance. Number three, enhance market access and internationalization. Number four, enhance policy and regulatory environment. And of course, the last one is to promote entrepreneurship and human capital development. And of course, the Philippines is expected to play an important role for this implementation of goal letter E as the country champion. We've been known to sending OFWs. We call it overseas Filipino workers. But lately, the government realized that we're having brain drain because of that sending human capital to different countries. We send engineers, we send nurses, we send educators to other countries, and then no one is left in the country to teach the younger generation. So we have a brain drain. That's why the government now is limiting the nurses going out, limiting the engineers going out, limiting the educators going out. And of course, they're giving incentives for those who are staying behind. They are thinking of ways to increase the salary, because the main reason why Filipinos are moving out, because the salary in the country is not as competitive when you are outside, especially in the European country or in the Western side. Okay, I think that's all. And these are my references. I have sent to Ridwan the PDF file of this lecture, so he can provide you this. And again, thank you for listening and for your time. And of course, it started on April 1st. I would say Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jennifer, for the excellent presentation. I would also like to point out, because you've been sharing a lot about what's going on in the Philippines, but actually that phenomenon, that trends also happening here in Indonesia. Like you mentioned before, like the economic nationalism. Now that our younger generation tends to, buy more local product, and they even see themselves, like a proud Indonesian suddenly. Like before the pandemic, they like to, showing off that they're buying this international branded or, those kind of products. But now I think that trend is shifting, that if we can wear like from head to toe, like we also have this trend, like, outfit of the day, that trend that's happening in the social media. They like to mention, if they wear Indonesian products, they even feel prouder than before. So that's also happening here. And other thing is that we also have several new e-wallet, or I think like different kinds of payment methods are getting more and more during the pandemic. Even like existing company now, they develop or build an app so that they can have their own version of e-wallet, like e-money. But I think after the pandemic, this is just my thinking, because there are so many, like we also not only have, we have this method, like we can pay later. because it is still hard here for Indonesian people to get a credit card. Now there are several, payment methods like pay later, and I think that is also come with a problem because we have this impulsive buying, so we can get the products without paying first, but then now we have like several others or alternative for paying those products, and I think that will be the problem of our younger generation, because we still don't have a job. I think like you mentioned before, about Shopee. Now the Shopee pay later is available. So that is also a problem we all have. Usually for the female students, like, oh, this is cheap, but then this is cheap today, you buy something cheap, tomorrow you buy something cheap, and monthly you will have like this long list of bill for you to pay. So I think that's it is a good thing, so that the MSME gonna grow, because they can sell the products, but then it is also not going to be a good consumer behavior, especially for those who are still not earning money. So yeah, I think that is going to be a challenge after the pandemic, like how we have to manage our finance. And then also, I would like to point out that it is true that we are now prioritizing health and food. So it leads to a more healthy lifestyle, less junk food, as now people like to, eat their own homemade food. So that is a good thing. Yeah. And then, of course, with the pandemic, facing us, this is also comes with the advancement in technology. So creative industry growing rapidly, more job varieties, opportunities, and also, we can work from home. That is more efficient, less time to commute. So I think it is more productive for pandemic. Now we can work from anywhere and earning much more money without having to stay in one single workplace. So I think that is also a good thing, that thing. So thank you, Dr. Jennifer, to share those experiences in Philippines, and I think we also facing the same problems, challenge, and also the opportunities, of course. Thank you very much. Now, would like to see there are questions already in the chat box. This is from Arif Fahri. This is in Indonesian, Dr. Jennifer. So I'm going to translate it for you. So Dr. Jennifer, is there any possibilities in the future that there will be, I don't know how to, how do you say, it's not boring, but if you have this rapid advancement in technology, people will see that that's not a big deal. Like if you see the technology right now, people growing from this is actually already good camera, but then people start upgrading their camera, and people feel kind of bored. So we're going to go in the time when we feel there's no longer any advancement in technology that we can upgrade. I think that's the point of Mr. Arif Fahri here. And will people be going back to the behavior before the pandemic? So will that be after the pandemic, and then we get used to the pandemic, and then we're going to have the same behavior as if before the pandemic?
Okay. Thank you for that question. That's a very good question. I would like to say that I will answer first the last part. Are we going back to the behavior of consumer prior to the pandemic? Well, I would say that personally, this is my viewpoint. We've been through a lot for the past 2 years. I don't think that the behavior will be just the same as the previous, but we are moving on to another era in our behavior, consumer behavior or marketing. And then the other question is that how about the technology? Can we consider it obsolete? Is that correct? My understanding is correct. Especially technology. It's clear that even in marketing, whenever I teach marketing, we have this topic in marketing that there were businesses in the past, like this mobile phone. Previously, the first company who introduced the mobile phone is known as the Nokia, right, from the Europe. But now, where's Nokia? What happened? And then before the camera, before we have this high tech mobile gadgets and camera, what we know as the Kodak. Okay, in the Philippines, when we ask somebody to have a photo shots of us, we will ask, okay, Kodak, Kodak. Kodakan na. Yeah, meaning to say, we are not using the term get a photo or a photo op, but we are using the term of the name of the biz or of the product. Okay, but where are they now? Because in marketing, we learned that we should not stay so complacent. Meaning, if you are number one today, don't say, okay, I'm number one. I will just sit down here because I'm the number one. No, you have to continuously innovate. You have to continuously strategize. You have to continuously ask people, your customers, about feedback. That's why we have the feedback mechanism in business. That's why we have this. Are we really giving quality to you? Okay, we ask them, we interview them, we give surveys, right? Because we need to maintain our status as the number one if we are the number one. And if you are the second one or the third one, you need to move up to the number one. Okay, so don't be just complacent. So if you are saying that, okay, I'm already number one, okay, marketing is like this, and then next time uh will marketing be still like this? No, you have to think of better ways. You have to think in advance. We call it thinking in advance.
Yeah, true. So you are going to get stuck if you don't innovate. Yeah. Yeah. So we also have that habit. So if we are going to do something, like it's mineral water here in Indonesia. So we even say that what you want to drink, we don't say mineral water, but we say the words. We say the brand. So yeah. But the good thing is that specific brand is always innovate. So yeah, people still consume the product. And then let's move on to the second question here. Oh, it's in English. Excuse me, Dr. Jennifer. My name is Sri Puspita Anggraini. My question is, what strategy should we do when during this pandemic there are many new MSMEs open for food and beverage business? Is this business still worth it to do when there are so many competitors? So will it still be a good thing to start a business in food and beverages?
Another good question. Thank you for that, Puspita Angreini. Food and beverages. Food business, they will never fade. Why? Because we are human beings. Huh? We need food. That's a basic need. So why think of F&B becoming obsolete? No, we need that. However, in my country, we have a lot of milk tea houses. Okay, we have a lot of buko drinks here, no coconut drinks. Okay, all stores. Most of the time, they are serving business, doing business, being in the same area. Okay, but they are thriving. Okay, the mineral water, the bottle station here in the Philippines. There are a lot of businesses here in the Philippines with a water bottle station, mineral water here, the aqua, whatever we call them, pure drink, whatever. But you see, uh, in marketing, there is a strategy. We also have this new entrant. Remember the principle of the new entrant. So if the industry in economics, we have this perfect competition, right? So even if there are a lot of businesses having F&B, the most important is that you stay in business. And how would you stay in business? Number one is that you satisfy your customers. Number two is that you are giving them quality products. Number three is that you always you innovate, you attract more customers. In marketing, we started with, in a big pie, we start with 5%, 2% target of the market, right? But market share, you want to expand, right? That's why, F&B food businesses, it will never fade. Okay. If I were you, young people, you want to stay, you want to start business, start with food business. Okay.
Yeah, true. That is like gasoline, yeah. So the food is always needed as long as the humankind exists. But still, you have to innovate and then expand and then again innovate and satisfy your customer. I hope that answered the question. Thank you, Dr. Jennifer. And then there's many questions here. Let me see. Okay, this one is from Muhammad Lukmanul Hakim. The question is, at this time, there is also a war between Russia and Ukraine, whether these factors can hinder economic recovery in various ways, because the effect that has been seen in Indonesia is the increase in vehicle fuel prices. Then how to overcome this? Yeah, I think the fuel prices is going up, not only in Indonesia, because I also saw the news that is also happening in the United States as well. Yeah, but I'm not sure about the Philippines. Will that also happening?
Yeah, we are affected. It's a global scenario. The crisis is not only between Ukraine and Russia, or in Europe or Western side. It's affecting us, even in the Philippines. No, the high price of gasoline, the high price of fuel prices, and our public transport, the drivers, they are actually starting to cry. They have families also, they are asking for increase, and the minimum payment in transportation, public transportation and everything. But if that will happen, there is a chain reaction. We call it a chain reaction because if the price of gasoline will increase, there is a tendency that everything will increase, right? So what will happen to us? But Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, with his company Tesla and SpaceX, he's actually introducing now the electronic car. Okay, we don't need fuel anymore. But you see, the Philippines is going to green innovation. We are going green. We are trying to move to as much as possible, as early as possible, as quick as possible. We move to renewable sources of energy. The solution of other countries, even in the Netherlands, okay, the countries there in Europe, uh, they are promoting bicycles, right? Also, that's helpful. You physically, you will become fit. You will bike all the way to your work, okay? And in my country, they are already promoting a bike lane, okay, a bicycle lane. I remember many years back when I visited Hong Kong and even Taiwan, they have this bike lane already, and that was 20 years back. Okay, I'm that old. But you see, we should adopt that bicycle lane, okay? And because gasoline, they give us, air pollution anyway, right? So why don't we go to better type of sources of energy, like the renewable sources of energy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I also agree with you. So there will be like more alternative transportation. Yeah. Apart from that, that is also make us to think to have this innovation on how to shift the fuel. Yeah. Because we also have that Tesla coming here in Indonesia, but only those who are rich who can afford it. But then also the good thing is that more public transportation is becoming a trend, and it is going to be it is getting better every day because people are, they don't really like to drive their car again because of the high price of the gasoline. So yeah, I think it leads to also a good thing if the fuel price going up. And then we actually still have 5 to 10 minutes. There's still one question here I see in the chat box. Okay, this is from Indira. In the presentation, Dr. Jennifer said that the government also helped the MSMEs industry with giving the access to finance. Oh, I think this is she's talking about the financial aid. And then how is that country can oh, okay. Let me read it first. Sorry. Oh, okay. So if the country is already have a huge amount of debt, and then how can that country have to also giving financial aid to the MSMEs? Will that be going to, it's going to make more problems for the country? Because in one hand, they have to deal with the debt that they have. And then the other thing that this country also have the urge to, give financial aid to the MSMEs. Is that a wise move for the government to help the MSMEs?
Okay, thank you very much, Indira, for that question. That's a very good question, right? That's also our problem. we have a lot of debt to pay. The politicians are being blamed for that every time, every time. But you see, is there any country? Do you know any country, whether a rich or a considered third world country, without a loan, without a debt, in the World Bank? Do you know any country? There's none. Even the USA, they also have debts. You see, how would a country like the Philippines give or provide loans or credits to small businesses? Organizations, not only the financing institutions like banks, because banks, they will only give or provide loans to rich people, to people with popularity, whatever. They will also check the background, whether this person can pay, blah blah blah, and so on. Okay, but in the Philippines, we have this different organizations. We have here a cooperative. We call it cooperative. I don't know in Indonesia if you are practicing that, but we have this what we call cooperative. What is this cooperative? For example, farmers cooperative. So meaning to say all farmers in that area are establishing this business, this organization, and eventually it's a cooperative, it's an organization. We have a lot of a lot of that kind of organization here in the Philippines, and I'm a member of one of a cooperative, what we call. And even in our school, in my school, okay, we have this cooperative. uh, all types of cooperatives. You can be a cooperative like all faculty members, all educators. You can create an organization, and then you can help each other. That's one way of helping each other. We need to help each other. We should, because we are one country. We need to move up, and we can only move up by helping each other. And I believe that that principle is also a good thing in Indonesia. You help each other also. You create your own strategy on how to help each other. The Philippine government is doing that. They are, the Senate, our politicians, our lawmakers, they are doing their best to create laws and decrees that will actually help the farmers or these small businesses. They are doing that. Okay, there are a lot of decrees of provision being passed into the Senate. We are just waiting for the approval and for the signatory or signature of the President Duterte, and for the signature.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it actually sounds the same here. Like in Indonesia, we have it called kooperasi. So it sounds the same, cooperative and kooperasi. Yeah, it is also like a small organizations. So if you need money, then they can lend you money without a small rate. Yeah. So yeah, there is also we have that here. But yeah, thanks for the politicians. Yeah, for the huge debt that they left it for us. But then, in the other hand, the Indonesian government also have the also make government to and all. So yeah,
I think Afifah, Mrs. Afifah,
Yes, maybe
is
Mrs.
having,
Yeah,
yeah,
having a unstable network. So
yeah, okay. Go ahead,
let
Farrell.
yeah.
hello. I think I get.
Okay.
Sorry, the internet here
Yeah,
is
no problem, no problem.
okay. I'm sorry. So yeah, we'll also I forgot which when did I get out when kick out? Where was I?
I think two minutes ago, or 1 minute ago.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the last thing I remember saying is that it is take a public effort, yeah, from the government and also the citizens, from the owner of the products and also us as the customers to strengthen our national economy. So I think that is the solution, yeah, that we can grow up. I mean, growing stronger together out of this pandemic. I think, yep, that's all that we have. The questions, or did I miss one or two questions? The committee. Is there any questions that I haven't delivered to Dr. Jennifer, or is that all? Mas Farel, apakah ada pertanyaan lain yang belum saya bacakan atau sudah semua tercover?
Dari yang saya terima ini terakhir tidak Ayu itu Ibu. Ya.
Semua. Okay. Jennifer, session today, maybe one or two sentences for closing remarks here.
Okay, thank you very much. I really feel honored and I'm grateful and privileged to be with you, looking at you, young people. I really enjoyed being with you, seeing you with all those faces, the younger generation. What I can say about your generation is that you start helping your government even in your own small way. Here in the Philippines, all my students, I always encourage them, even at a young age, I'm always telling them, you can invest. You don't need to wait for big money to come to you to invest. You can invest. Here in the Philippines, there are strategies that we can invest even 50 pesos. Before, during my time, when we say we invest, only the big companies, only the big companies. But now, we encourage our students to invest. So I also encourage you, you start investing when you have this allowance, when you receive allowance, money from your parents. You don't spend them all the way, okay, and then ask for another allowance, okay, another set of amount of money. Be a spendthrift, be wise. Okay. I believe that this pandemic made you a lot wiser kids, a lot wiser younger generation. And of course, you can change everything around you, but it will start within you. You start to change for the better. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, guys, remember, stop spending, start investing. That is a good motto to close our session today. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Jennifer. Hope I can see you again in the near future. I'm Afifah, moderator for today's webinar. I'm going to give this session to our host today, Mas Farel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Afifa. I
Oh,
would love to. I always love being with Una Air. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. And there is the our main session for today, our today's guest lecturer. And today, I also would like to say thank you to Mrs. Afifah Rahmania, who has moderated this session very well, and also especially to Dr. Jennifer, who has provided the material and then the discussion and maybe shared her experiences to every participant here so they can imply this to their businesses or their life. As a thank you, we would like to reward Dr. Jennifer with a certificate for her contribution for today's guest lecturer. Therefore, I would like to invite Dr. Jennifer to receive the certificate. And for the committee, can share screen the certificate followed by screenshot for documentation. Okay, I will lead for the documentation session. One, two, three.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank
I am
you.
receiving the certificate with a whole heart. Thank you, Parel Christian. Yeah, I hope, yeah, that's your name. And thank you, Mrs. Afifa. Thank you to all the faculty members of Faculty of Business and Economics, and of course, UNAIR for the officers, the officials of UNAIR, and of course, the students. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you once again. Thank you so much, Dr. Jennifer, for your contribution today, for all of us, for your material, the discussion, and maybe your experience that you already shared to us. And next, before we finish this event, I would like to invite every participant to turn on their cameras because we're going to take some documentation for today's guest lecturer. Oke, sekali lagi saya umumkan untuk seluruh partisipan bisa karena sebentar lagi kita akan melakukan sesi dokumentasi di ruangan Zoom ini. Oke, mungkin akan nunggu 1 menit. We will wait about 1 minute to give them time to prepare. Oke.
Baik, akan saya ambil alih untuk saat ini akan masuk sesi dokumentasi. Untuk para peserta dimohon untuk on cam. Saya mulai dari slide pertama. Silakan untuk on cam. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Baik, untuk slide kedua, dipersiapkan untuk on-cam. Baik, akan saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Baik, untuk 3, mohon untuk persiapan on-cam. Baik, akan saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Baik, dan selanjutnya untuk slide keempat bisa dipersiapkan untuk on-cam. Akan mulai saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Baik, untuk slide kelima bisa dimulai untuk on-cam. Akan saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Selanjutnya untuk slide ke-6 bisa dimohon untuk on-cam. Baik, akan saya mulai 1, 2, 3. Untuk slide selanjutnya bisa dimohon untuk on-cam. 1, 2, 3. Untuk slide ke-8 bisa dimohon untuk on-cam. 1, 2, 3. Dan untuk slide terakhir, slide 9 bisa dimohon untuk on-cam. 1, 2, 3. Baik, terima kasih untuk sesi dokumentasi telah selesai. Saya kembaliin ke MC.
Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you, Dr. Jennifer, for your contribution today. And finally, we are at the end of the event for today, guest lecture. We would like to say thank you very much for every contribution from the participants and others. We hope this event can be useful for ourselves, our businesses, and the future of MSME in Indonesia or maybe in the world. And we all also apologize for any inconvenience during these events. We will always evaluate this and improve in the future.
Good afternoon. Thank
Good
you.
afternoon. Thank you. Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Mrs.
Dr.
Afifah
Jennifer.
and Dr. Jennifer.